Imagine standing in the pitch-black Vietnamese jungle when a 7-foot-tall figure emerges from the brush. This is not a ghost story, but a documented report from the front lines of the war. Deep within Quang province, soldiers encountered things that defied every rational explanation they were ever taught. Like walking into a prehistoric world, the rules of modern warfare simply did not apply here. What do you do when the enemy stalking you through the trees isn't even human? Before facing these monsters, we must understand the brutal search and destroy reality of the jungle. American soldiers and their allies regularly faced terrifying conventional threats while navigating the dense tropical foliage. Hidden within the tall grass, tigers prowled the shadows, waiting for an isolated patrol to pass. Beneath the damp leaves, poisonous reptiles slithered through the mud, posing a silent and deadly danger. Massive insects swarmed the camps, adding a constant layer of misery to an already grueling tour. These natural predators were enough to keep any soldier on edge during their long nights on watch. Yet, near the DMZ, some reports described encounters that far exceeded the known dangers of nature. Soldiers often mistook strange movements for rock apes, but some sightings were far more disturbing and large. In the heart of the wilderness, one patrol spotted for being standing at least 7 feet tall. These entities possessed a strange bioluminescence, glowing faintly against the absolute darkness of the jungle floor. When the soldiers opened fire, the figures seemed to shrug off the bullets like light summer rain. How do you report such a nightmare to a commanding officer without sounding completely out of your mind? These sightings often occurred near the entrance to what would become a world-famous geological marvel. A local man named Quang would later discover a hidden opening that led into a subterranean world. In 2009, this site known as Sun Dune Cave was officially declared the largest cave on Earth. This massive cave system in Quang province hides secrets that have fascinated researchers for many years. Paranormal investigators like Lynn Strickler have documented these reptilian accounts for a growing audience of seekers. Even legends like Art Bell discuss these bizarre wartime encounters on his famous late-night radio broadcasts. The connection between the massive Sun Dune Cave and these towering entities remains a haunting mystery today. As we dig deeper, the line between military, history, and the unexplained begins to blur completely. To the men on the ground, the jungle was already a death trap of tigers and vipers. In this dense, unforgiving wilderness, there was one absolute rule: if it moves after dark, kill it. This was the reality for an American platoon-sized element inserted by helicopter into the primary combat zone. Their destination lay deep within the treacherous terrain, just north of the heavily contested DMZ border line. These soldiers were tasked with conducting aggressive search and destroy operations against the battle-hardened North Vietnamese army. The mission was simple in theory, but the environment turned every step into a calculated gamble for survival. In the jungle, the canopy swallowed all light, leaving soldiers in a world of oppressive, ink-black darkness. To manage the chaos of night combat, military command implemented a strict curfew for all local villagers. After the sun dipped below the horizon, any human presence in the bush was considered hostile by default. The jungle was a pressurized chamber where one wrong move could trigger a total, life-threatening catastrophe. Standard procedure for night missions was clear and lethal. Soldiers were ordered to fire on anything that moved. There was no time for questions when a potential ambush could happen in a fraction of a second. If everything in the darkness is a target, what happens when you hit something that won't die? Military protocol provided a sense of control, but it could not prepare the men for the impossible. The soldiers relied on their training and their weapons to keep the predatory shadows of Vietnam at bay. How do you maintain strict protocol when the very logic of the world begins to fail you? The platoon moved with practiced silence, their eyes straining to find movement in the thick, humid air. Every rustle of leaves or snap of a twig put fingers on triggers, ready to unleash devastating fire. This was a war of nerves, where the unseen was often more terrifying than the visible enemy. But in the north of the DMZ, a routine patrol was about to see something beyond standard explanation. To understand these encounters, we must look deep into the heart of Quang Binh province. This region served as the backdrop for some of the war's most chilling unexplained events. The DMZ created a jagged line where the rules of civilization simply ceased to exist. Dense jungle foliage swallowed the landscape, creating a 40-mile stretch of pure, unmonitored isolation. This specific dead zone became a perfect breeding ground for rumors of the strange and unnatural. Military records indicate all 3 significant military encounters occurred within this shadowy Quang Binh territory. To facilitate secret operations, a strict curfew kept local villagers far away from the dark woods. Without civilian witnesses, the jungle's hidden inhabitants could move freely under the cover of night. Soldiers on search and destroy missions often reported more than just enemy movement in the brush. Legends of the aggressive rock apes already haunted the men navigating these treacherous forest trails. One specific mission began when a platoon was inserted by helicopter deep into the northern DMZ. These men were dropped into a world where standard military protocols offered very little protection. High above, the Kars Mountains hid massive cave systems that are only now being fully understood. The legendary Sun Dune Cave remained tucked away, a silent giant waiting for its eventual discovery. It wasn't until Quang stumbled upon the entrance that the world realized what lay beneath. Within these subterranean depths, bioluminescence provides an eerie, natural glow to the ancient, damp walls. Researchers like Lynn Strickler have long questioned what might have emerged from these hidden prehistoric voids. On his late-night broadcasts, Art Bell shared stories of entities that defied every known biological law. The thick canopy blocked all moonlight, turning the jungle into a sensory deprivation chamber for soldiers. In this silence, the lines between combat fatigue and supernatural reality began to blur significantly. The DMZ was no longer just a border, but a gateway to a much older world. It happened north of the DMZ, a place where no one was supposed to be lurking in the dark. The point man suddenly raised his hand, freezing the entire patrol in a moment of pure tension. Through the thick brush, for figures were moving in single file with an eerie, rhythmic grace. These weren't the North Vietnamese soldiers that the American patrol had been sent out to track. On this search and destroy mission, the men expected to find standard infantry, not monsters. During the war, the average North Vietnamese soldier stood approximately 5.5 feet tall. But these massive beings stood at least 7 feet tall, dwarfing every human soldier in the jungle. How do you process a person who stands 2 feet taller than anyone you've ever met? The patrol watched in stunned silence as the hairless outlines of their bald skulls came into view. They lacked any clothing or gear, appearing as naked, powerful sentinels in the deep green shadows. Upon closer inspection, their skin wasn't smooth, but possessed a rough and distinctly scaly, reptilian texture. These creatures moved through the dense foliage without snapping a single twig or making a sound. Even more disturbing was the soft aura of light that seemed to pulse from their very skin, like seeing a lighthouse beam through a thick fog. A soft, impossible aura in the pitch black. Why were they glowing with a faint bioluminescence in a place devoid of any natural light? This strange light defined their massive frames, making them look like spectral intruders in the night. They were certainly not the legendary rock apes that soldiers often reported seeing in these regions. These were something else entirely, navigating the Quang Binh province with a chilling and predatory precision. The patrol stayed low, their breath catching as the 4 giants continued their silent march northward. Every instinct screamed to engage, but the sheer impossibility of the sight kept their fingers off triggers. For sentinels moving with a silence that shouldn't be possible for beings of that immense size, they eventually disappeared into the mist, headed toward the hidden depths near the Sun Dune Cave. This encounter north of the border left the men questioning everything they knew about the war. Decades later, researchers like Lynn Strickler would collect these harrowing accounts for a world seeking answers. Stories like these would eventually find their way to listeners on late-night broadcasts with Art Bell. But for now, the secret remained buried near the location where Quang would discover a gateway. If you think one patrol was an isolated incident. Wait until you hear what happened on the riverbank. 8 soldiers onto boats were navigating a winding river north of the tense DMZ line. They were executing a search and destroy mission through the dense, unforgiving terrain of the Vietnamese jungle. As the team moved inland, they stumbled upon massive piles of animal dung within a secluded clearing. The air grew heavy with anticipation before several towering humanoid figures emerged from the thick green canopy. These creatures stood between 7 and 8 feet tall, dwarfing the battle-hardened soldiers who watched in silence. Unlike the dark figures seen before, these beings possessed skin that was a startling, bright yellow hue. Their alien anatomy featured 3-digit hands and feet that looked entirely out of place in our world. At the ends of those long fingers and toes sat sharp claws, glinting dangerously in the filtered light. Their faces were disturbingly flat, punctuated by large, piercing snake eyes and simple slits for a nose. Perhaps most bizarre was the way their bodies seemed to emanate a powerful, haunting bioluminescence into the shadows. Fear eventually turned to action as the patrol opened fire, hoping their training would save their lives. To their horror, the bullets appeared to bounce harmlessly off the thick, scaly skin of the yellow giants. Imagine the shock of seeing your most reliable tool become completely useless against an organic armor plating. How do you even begin to describe 3-fingered, glowing humanoids to a skeptical military debriefing officer? These creatures didn't flinch or retreat, standing firm against a barrage that would have felled any man. The soldiers were forced to witness something that defied every law of biology they had ever known. Were these the same guardians mentioned in the archives of Lynn Strickler or the stories of Art Bell? In the heart of Quang Binh province, the line between myth and military reality had officially blurred. Bullets bouncing off skin remains the ultimate nightmare for any soldier caught in the deep, dark jungle. Skeptics often dismiss these terrifying encounters as simple cases of misidentifying enemy soldiers in the darkness. But when we look at the hard data, the physical differences become impossible to ignore. During the height of the conflict, the average North Vietnamese soldier stood roughly 5.5 feet tall. These were lean, agile men perfectly suited for the dense, humid terrain of Quang Binh province. Yet, the entities encountered by the first patrol loomed much larger than any human soldier. Witnesses described for beings that stood at least 7 feet tall, dwarfing the local combatants. Imagine a figure nearly 2 feet taller than anyone you expected to find in those shadows. The discrepancy only grew as more reports surfaced from the dangerous regions near the DMZ. A later boat patrol encountered humanoid creatures that reached even more staggering and impossible heights. These beings were estimated to be between 7 and 8 feet tall, towering over the river bank. At those dimensions, they would have been giants compared to the soldiers on search and destroy missions. Misidentification requires a similarity that simply does not exist when comparing 5 feet to 8 feet. No amount of shadows or jungle foliage can account for such a massive physical disparity. Even the most battle-hardened troops recognized that these were not the enemies they were trained to fight. These colossal figures possessed a presence that felt entirely alien to the known laws of biology. If they weren't men, then what could possibly grow so large within the hidden depths of Vietnam? Could these giants be linked to the massive subterranean world discovered by locals like Ho Khan? Perhaps they emerged from the uncharted darkness of the Sun Dune Cave to watch the surface world. Others wonder if the bioluminescence reported in the area points towards something even more mysterious and unnatural. Research by investigators like Lynn Strickler suggests these sightings are part of a much larger, global puzzle. Even late-night radio legend Art Bell explored these tales of giants lurking in the world's dark corners. While some dismiss them as rock apes, the massive height difference makes that explanation feel utterly hollow. The sheer scale of these beings shatters the theory that soldiers were merely jumping at shadows. When you are staring up at an 8-foot-tall titan, your survival instincts tell a very different story. This wasn't a mistake. It was a confrontation with something that shouldn't exist in our world. But the most chilling encounter didn't happen in the open. It happened at the threshold of a hillside cave. In 1970, a corporal in the U.S. Army found himself deployed deep within the dangerous South Vietnam jungle. Operating roughly 30 miles south of the DMZ, his squad navigated terrain where every shadow felt like a threat. As second in command, the corporal led his men through thick brush toward a discovery that defied all logic. High on a quiet hillside, they stumbled upon a cave entrance that seemed out of place in nature. This opening stood approximately 5 feet high, creating a dark, narrow portal into the mountain's mysterious interior. Measuring 3 feet wide, the entrance looked less like a natural fissure and more like a deliberate doorway. The squad paused, sensing that this was no ordinary rock formation hidden within the dense Vietnamese foliage. Upon closer inspection, the cave entrance passageway revealed smooth edges that looked almost polished by human hands. Small, evenly spaced grooves lined the stone, suggesting the work of advanced machinery rather than simple erosion. These precise markings made the cave entrance feel more like a bunker than a primitive mountain hideout. What kind of technology leaves perfectly even grooves in solid limestone deep within a primitive jungle? Before they could investigate further, a putrid odor began to drift from the dark depths of the cavern. This sickening stench resembled a mixture of rotting eggs and the unmistakable scent of human decay. The overwhelming smell signaled that something lived or died deep within the throat of the jagged hillside. Every soldier felt the instinctive urge to retreat from the foul, unnatural atmosphere surrounding the cave's mouth. Thinking tactically, the corporal ordered his squad to take up a defensive position 150 feet away. They watched the entrance from the brush, their rifles ready as they waited for something to emerge. The jungle grew silent as the men braced themselves for whatever might be lurking inside that manufactured hole. Hours passed in agonizing stillness as the squad kept their eyes locked on the cave's dark threshold. Just before 050 hours, movement was finally detected near the entrance, breaking the long, tense silence. Shadows began to shift within the cave, moving with a fluid grace that unsettled the waiting soldiers. Suddenly, the beings emerging from the darkness stood upright, reaching a terrifying height of at least 7 feet. These massive figures towered over the landscape, echoing reports of the giant sentinels seen elsewhere in the DMZ. The sheer scale of the creatures confirmed they were not the enemy soldiers the squad expected to find. Their skin appeared scaly and shiny, reflecting the faint morning light with an eerie, metallic black sheen. This dark, reptilian hide looked like organic armor, perfectly suited for the humid depths of the jungle. As the creatures moved, the corporal realized their appearance was unlike anything known to modern zoology. When the beings turned, the squad saw terrifying snake faces characterized by flat features and narrow profiles. Large, forward-set eyes scanned the environment with an intelligence that felt cold, predatory, and entirely non-human. These serpent-like features confirmed the squad was facing a species that defied every rule of the natural world. Surprisingly, these cave-dwelling beings wore long, one-piece dark green robes that flowed as they walked. Dark cap coverings obscured the tops of their heads, adding a ritualistic or uniform appearance to their presence. Does a primitive animal wear a robe? Or were these beings part of an organized, hidden society? The sight of robed, lizard-like humanoids in the middle of a war zone left the squad paralyzed. These weren't just animals. They were intelligent entities living inside a cave that looked suspiciously manufactured. The corporal's discovery raised a haunting question about what truly lies beneath the soil of Vietnam. Who or what builds machined grooves in a remote jungle cave during the height of a 1970 conflict? As the firefight began, the mystery of the robed sentinels took a violent and unforgettable turn. The jungle held many secrets, but the machined cave was perhaps the most terrifying revelation of all. Decades later, these stories finally reached the public through the airwaves and the early internet. Is this just the fog of war? Or did these men see something that actually exists? Long after the fighting stopped, veterans began sharing accounts that defied every standard military explanation. One of the first major platforms for these bizarre encounters was the legendary Coast to Coast radio program. On his show, Art Bell captivated millions while discussing a terrifying creature encounter near Riverside. Listeners sat in silence as the host explored the strange intersection of military, history, and the unknown. This public interest opened a floodgate for other veterans who had been carrying heavy secrets for years. In 2015, another prominent researcher named Lynn Strickler brought a different soldier's story to light. Strickler published a detailed report on his blog, describing a veteran's haunting encounter inside a dark cave. These accounts from Art Bell and Lynn Strickler forced the public to look closer at the Vietnam experience. Skeptics naturally point toward the extreme psychological trauma soldiers endured while fighting near the DMZ. Could the intense pressure of a search and destroy mission cause a mind to conjure monsters from shadows? Some suggest these sightings were merely misidentified rock apes, a common primate found in the region. Memories of war are like a puzzle with missing pieces, where the parts we find don't always fit. We must also recall the toxic herbicides the military sprayed across the lush landscapes of the DMZ. These chemicals decimated the foliage, but some wonder if they also played a role in strange hallucinations. Can trauma truly create the same hyper-specific hallucination across different units in separate provinces? If these were merely tricks of the mind, why did the stories only surface many decades later? Perhaps the veterans needed the safety of time before they could speak about the horrors they witnessed. While some dismiss these tales as ghost stories, the consistency between independent reports is hard to ignore. The geographical patterns near Quang Binh province suggest something far more tangible than simple battlefield exhaustion. But when you map these reports, the skepticism starts to face a very physical and imposing obstacle. This is where the hallucination theory starts to fall apart under the weight of massive geographical evidence. 3 different military units encountered something inexplicable across 3 separate years in the exact same region. Look closely at the map where the dense jungle meets the jagged karst mountains of the DMZ. Every terrifying report leads back to a single, rugged location known formally as Quang Binh province. Skeptics call these isolated incidents, yet the geographic coordinates tell a far more chilling and consistent story. It is like finding 3 different keys that all fit the same heavy, locked door in the jungle. What are the odds of 3 separate hallucinations occurring within the same narrow, 40-mile radius? These search and destroy missions were miles apart, yet they shared a singular and terrifying epicenter. In the heart of this province, the landscape hides secrets deeper than any soldier ever imagined. The rugged terrain of Quang Binh province isn't just a battlefield. It's a doorway to the unknown. Near the DMZ, the limestone mountains rise like jagged teeth against the humid, misty Vietnamese sky. Deep within these mountains lies a discovery that would eventually rewrite modern geological and paranormal history. Located precisely 70 kilometers or 43 miles north of the DMZ sits the massive Hang Son Dune, also known as Sun Dune Cave. This subterranean world remained hidden from humanity for countless millennia. Local logger Ho Quang first stumbled upon its massive opening while seeking shelter from a sudden storm. This cave system is so vast it could easily house a 40-story skyscraper within its cavernous walls. The sightings of reptilian humanoids and rock apes all orbit this massive, unexplored underground labyrinth. While Art Bell and Lynn Strickler documented the stories, the geography provided the physical proof. Every encounter happened within striking distance of the world's largest and most mysterious cave system. The bioluminescence reported by soldiers matches the strange properties often found in deep, isolated caverns. What if the creatures weren't lurking in the trees, but emerging from the very earth itself? And right in the center of those coordinates, a discovery in 2009 changed everything we knew. It is so massive it hosts its own weather system and a prehistoric jungle hidden from sight. For thousands of years, this subterranean titan remained completely invisible to the outside world far above. Finding it was like discovering a lost world right beneath the solace of your muddy boots. This story begins with Ho Quang, a local logger born in the rural hills of Phong Nha. In December 1990, Quang was deep in the jungle foraging for precious and rare agar wood. While searching, he stumbled upon a mysterious opening hidden within a jagged limestone cliff wall. This massive void is known as Hang Sun Dung, which translates to the mountain river cave. Clouds billowed from the entrance, and the roar of a rushing river echoed from the darkness. Frightened by the strange sounds and vertical drop, Quang left the site for nearly 2 decades. It was not until 2009 that he led researchers back to confirm the scale of his find. That year, Hang Sun Dung was officially declared the largest cave system on our entire planet. The subterranean passage extends more than 9 kilometers or 5.5 miles in length. Within its depths, the average height reaches a staggering 200 meters or 660 feet. The cavern opens wide, maintaining an average width of approximately 150 meters across the floor. This is not just a hollow space. It contains a thriving, isolated ecosystem hidden from humanity. Sections of the roof collapsed, allowing sunlight to feed lush jungles growing deep underground. Endangered tigers and flying foxes roam through the dark, alongside rare primates and ancient plants. How could something this massive remain completely hidden from our maps until the year 1990? If a tiger can live in here, what else might be lurking in the dark? In 2013, the cave finally opened for tourism, inviting the world to witness its breathtaking beauty. While its beauty is undeniable, the sheer scale of the system suggests even deeper mysteries. But a cave this size does not just hold beauty. It holds secrets we are barely understanding. Beneath the surface of Quang Binh province lies a world that defies every rule of modern biology. This subterranean kingdom is far more than empty space. It is a breathing, biological miracle. Dense jungle foliage thrives in the Garden of Eden, where sunlight reaches deep into the earth. Here, the air is thick with the scent of damp earth and the echoes of unseen creatures. Rare primates swing through the internal canopy, far removed from the hunters of the upper world. Massive flying foxes navigate the darkness, their leathery wings beating against the humid limestone walls. Even endangered tigers are rumored to stalk these shadows, finding refuge in the cave's deep isolation. This isolated ecosystem creates a perfect sanctuary for species thought to be lost to history. In this alien landscape, the line between known biology and terrifying legend begins to blur significantly. If tigers can roam these depths, perhaps other, more mysterious predators have also found a home. These discoveries lend a chilling weight to the story shared on the Art Bell radio show. Len Strickler often documented encounters that seemed impossible until the discovery of this hidden realm. The local legend of Ho Con suggests that even more dangerous secrets await in the darkness. During the Vietnam War, soldiers near the DMZ reported sightings that military intelligence could not explain. They spoke of rock apes and humanoid figures that seemed perfectly adapted to this brutal environment. Bioluminescence flickers in the deepest reaches, casting an eerie glow on the jagged, ancient rock formations. This natural light source might provide enough visibility for creatures living far beneath the surface. While search and destroy missions focused on the surface, something else was watching from the shadows. The complexity of Sun Dung Cave proves that massive, unknown organisms could easily remain hidden. This environment validates the possibility that the soldiers' terrifying reports were more than just jungle fever. By 2015, the stories from the war were no longer just military legends whispered in dark corners. Did the logger who found the cave also find its most terrifying resident hiding within the shadows? The legend of Sun Dung Cave took a darker turn when a mysterious video surfaced online in 2015. This footage alleged that Ho Con, the cave's original discoverer, had a shocking encounter with something inhuman. The reports described a terrifying devil creature lurking deep within the subterranean jungle of Quang Binh province. Descriptions of this beast echoed the chilling stories told by soldiers patrolling the DMZ decades earlier. Skeptics wondered if these new sightings were merely echoes of the past or evidence of a living nightmare. Why does a 2015 description match a 1970 report so perfectly after nearly half a century? The stories are like echoes in the cave, getting louder the deeper we venture into the unknown. As the viral claims spread, the mainstream media began to take notice of the strange happenings in Vietnam. In 2022, the popular television series Ancient Aliens dedicated an entire episode to the mysteries of Sun Dune. Investigators explored the possibility that these humanoid creatures were not from our world or our time. They connected the modern sightings to the ancient legends of the region and the soldiers' wartime experiences. The show brought the secret history of the DMZ to a global audience hungry for the truth. Is it possible the war disturbed something that wanted to stay hidden in the darkness of the earth? Every new report adds another layer of mystery to the already complex history of Quang Binh province. Some believe these entities have been guarding the cave systems since long before humans arrived. Others argue that the bioluminescence and strange geology create perfect conditions for terrifying hallucinations. Yet, the consistency of the descriptions from different eras makes the scientific explanations feel incomplete. The search and destroy missions of the past have been replaced by a search for the truth. Whether you believe the ancient aliens theories or not, the descriptions are becoming impossible to ignore. When we look at the science of the deep, the impossible starts to look inevitable. Here is the theory that ties it all together. The war didn't create these monsters. Instead, the relentless fire of the conflict just woke them up from an ancient, hidden sleep. Deep beneath the soil of Quang Binh province, a hidden world has thrived for untold millennia. Some whale and shark species are documented to live for more than 400 years. If a shark can live that long, why couldn't something else hide in the dark? Evolution takes strange, haunting turns when species are isolated from the sun for millions of years. In the absolute blackness of Sun Dune Cave, life must find a way to navigate without light. Bioluminescence might explain the eerie, glowing eyes reported by soldiers peering into the thick jungle brush. This biological light is a common adaptation for apex predators lurking in the planet's darkest corners. During the Vietnam War, the DMZ became the target of the most intense bombing in history. What happens to a subterranean species when thousands of tons of explosives rain down above them? Like a fire flushing animals out of a forest, the bombing acted as a massive smoke out. The shockwaves likely fractured the limestone ceilings of unexplored caverns throughout the entire Quang Binh region. These creatures, often called rock apes by infantrymen, were suddenly forced into the open air. For a species accustomed to eternal quiet, the chaos of search and destroy missions was apocalyptic. They weren't invaders from space, but original inhabitants disturbed by the modern violence of humanity. Lynn Strickler and other researchers argue these sightings weren't just hallucinations caused by combat stress. The specific physical descriptions from Ho Con and Art Bell's callers point toward a terrifying reality. We must consider if the Vietnam War inadvertently revealed a hidden, ancient branch of life. If these beings survived for centuries in the dark, they certainly aren't going anywhere now. The caves of Quang Binh remain mostly unexplored, holding secrets that modern science cannot yet explain. Every shadow in the DMZ could be a remnant of a world that predates human civilization. We likely share the earth with giants who only emerge when the ground begins to shatter. As long as the deep earth remains a mystery, these ancient stories will continue to haunt us. These chilling accounts are still out there, tucked away in dusty military files and old radio tapes. From the shadows of the DMZ to the depths of Quang Binh province, the mystery remains alive. History is like the Sun Dune Cave itself. The more we explore, the less we actually know. We have traced the legends of the rock apes and the bioluminescence glowing in the deep earth. Brave men like Ho Con revealed a hidden world that modern science is only now beginning to grasp. Researchers like Lynn Strickler and hosts like Art Bell gave a voice to those who saw the impossible. But these stories of search and destroy missions aren't just relics of a forgotten jungle war's past. The jungle still hides more than just history. It keeps secrets that defy our understanding of reality. Have you ever seen something in the darkness that you simply could not explain to anyone else? Do you believe the soldiers who returned from the Vietnamese brush with tales of 7-foot-tall giants? We want to hear from you about your own encounters with the strange and the truly unexplained. If you served in the military or explored the wild, your story could be the next missing piece. Share your experiences in the comments and join our community of seekers and mystery hunters today. Your perspective helps us shine a light into the darkest corners of our world's most hidden places. Our journey through the documented strangeness of the Vietnam War is far from being over just yet. There are still many more files to open and many more legends waiting to be told here. We will continue to probe the depths of the earth until every shadow has nowhere left to hide. What else is still waiting for us in the pitch-black silence of the prehistoric underground? Keep searching for the answers, because the truth is always much deeper than you could ever think. Until next time, stay vigilant and remember that some mysteries are meant to be found in time.